One. Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Mag. If you're one of my students, if you're anybody else, it's also Mr. Mag. Uh, and we're here with my interview series, talking to people who are music majors, fresh out of college or still in programs, seeing what that life is like, what it's like to be a young musician in the year 2020. Uh, and our guest today is Andrew
Hi.
Ordonez.
Yeah.
How are you
Everyone,
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Getting together. Or I guess I'm holding together. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
We all are. We're doing our best here right now.
Hmm.
Um. So for everyone, my name is Andrew Ordonez. I'm currently a master's student at UCLA. I'm in my first year, or I'm finishing off what would be my first year of my program at UCLA. I'm pursuing a master's in tuba performance. Before I went to UCLA, I went to Cal State Fullerton. I went there from 2019. I took 5 years from my program. I studied tuba performance there as well, and that's actually where I got to know and where I first met Mr. Muck once upon a time.
Great. That's great. Can you say your years again? It cut out on my end, so I just want to make sure. What years did you go to Cal State Fullerton?
I was at Cal State Fullerton from 2014 to 2019.
Okay, 2014 to 2019.
Yeah,
That's took
2019.
you 5 years then?
Yep, it took me
Okay,
full 5 years.
same
So
thing. I took 5 years.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. 5 years is a play.
Yeah, I mean, you got all those classes that you got to get into, and
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. And I feel like 5 years for me in particular, I took that extra year because I felt like I needed that time to
mhm.
get ready, and it felt like it very much made the difference.
Yeah,
Like I was getting to the end of my fourth year, I was kind of like and when
yeah,
I start my
yeah.
fifth
Four
year,
years might have been too quick.
5 years, you're like, oh, okay, yes, this
Yeah,
feels right. Okay, now it's time.
yeah, yeah. So how are you doing with this whole like quarantine thing? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing the best that I can. I really room as other musicians. That's
Uh-huh.
something that I felt I really missed, and something I've
Yeah.
been really looking for in my life. I've been doing my best to practice on my own. I have some little things that I'm preparing for. I have a couple of auditions that are coming up. I'm sending in a couple of tapes to this tuba competition that happens every year in
Mhm.
August. It's called Falcone Festival. There's a huge they have put out a predetermined repertoire list, and then people
Mhm.
from all over the world all prepare like then they judge and they pick from different people. There's different categories. I'm at the age now where I participate in the artist category and no longer the student category. So I'm out there
Yeah.
swinging, swinging with some people who are probably prepared for something like this. So I'm kind of excited for it and looking forward to seeing what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Um, Aside from that, I'm just trying to hold together. I have a class that I'm working on. I'm taking it's called a seminar on it's called notation in music and how that affects
Mhm.
things. So that's kind of interesting to kind of experience that in a
Yeah.
virtual medium. I don't necessarily feel like I've lost much there, which is kind of nice because I feel like I'm still able to get what I would have gotten in person.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to get or to continue good music education like from a distance because like if
Yes,
you're not in the same room, it's a whole different experience.
absolutely. I'm also currently one of the teaching assistants for the wind band program here
Hmm.
at UCLA, or obviously not here, but at UCLA.
Yeah.
So I'm helping with both the wind ensemble and the symphonic band, we're working on this kind of like trying to find a way to have these classes and offer the students
Uh-huh.
some credit for those. It is hard to you can't really have a wind ensemble right now. So
Right.
which we
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah.
We're looking at different parts of the wind band. We're looking at different things we always want to talk about, but we never get a chance to. So we're talking about the history of the wind band. We're introducing to the symphonic band students people who haven't really had a musical. We're doing the best that we can, but
Yeah.
nothing really replaces playing in person. So
Yeah.
that I'm playing video games. So downloaded Sekiro. I bought a computer not too long ago, so
Fun. My let's see. Hold on. Okay. One of my games that I've been playing a lot is the new Resident Evil. Have you played either of those two?
I have not.
Oh, it's so good. It's like it's horror done like really good. It's like simultaneously really good environments. It's really spooky. Uh but it's not like frustratingly hard. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
I get the frustratingly hard.
because like a lot of horror games, they're just like, oh, here we're gonna make it so that this is just impossible, and and kill you a bunch of times, and that way it will scare you. But that's not what this is like.
Okay, it's manageable.
Yeah, which I like.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, maybe I'll check it out. I gotta get through the hero though. I've heard some people say it took them 30 hours, so I'm just like, well,
Yeah, have you ever played one of those like Souls type games?
this is my first time playing it.
Okay.
Dark Souls
Yeah.
was on sale, so I picked that up the other day. It was like $14 for like
Mhm.
the thing for it and like all the DLC. So
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Let's get back to music. Uh, how did you decide that you wanted to be a professional musician?
Professional musician when I was in high school. I was very fortunate to have a band director who was very, very passionate about what's called giving his students a great education
Mm-hmm.
and also just kind of exposing them to all facets of music. So he would talk to us like touring the world, touring the country in different places. He spent an extended period of time in Germany and Japan, playing in orchestras and playing in different entertainment venues. And then ultimately, he also told us like how he eventually ended up as a band director. So he gave us school band program. He gave us a really great picture of what was out there as what was out there and available to us as what you call musicians for career paths. And before I hadn't really considered all that there were that many career player as well. So he was really really inspirational and influential to me. He was my first he became my first private teacher. He actually went to Cal State Fullerton as well once upon a time. Mr. Mogg and I had this professor at Cal State Fullerton. His name was so
can you say that again? You cut out. You've been cutting out a little bit.
No
but you
worries.
cut out just then.
My internet connection isn't the greatest in the area, so
it's okay.
I'll repeat as I need.
Okay.
We were talking about. He was a very good friend of Mr. Mogg and I. We had a professor. His name was Professor Steve Mopar. Great ranger, great conductor.
Yeah.
Great guy. Really funny. A lot of stories.
Good old Stevie Mops.
Yeah, good old.
Yeah.
And when I started to get serious about the instrument, he would give me lessons and he would show me different opportunities that were available and out there for me. And he really pointed me in a lot of like really good directions. He eventually he talked to me about every school available in the country about playing for tuba. And ultimately he ended up pointing me at Cal State Fullerton, which I feel was really formative for me. My years at Cal State Fullerton were very, very important.
Good. I mean, as a fellow alum, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. I mean, Cal State Fullerton's a surprisingly good school. Like, it's a gem.
Absolutely.
I think, especially coming from like right next door to Cal State Fullerton, like if from where I went to high school, like if you go to Cal State Fullerton, well, like you didn't try hard enough to like get further away from Fullerton. but like really, it's a good school, especially for music.
Yes, yes, absolutely a gem in Southern California.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm on the West Coast for music education.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's how Eugene. His name was Eugene Fabiero, my band director.
Hmm.
He was very inspirational. I was kind of in the mindset that I only wanted to be a performer, that I didn't really want to teach. I didn't really want to look for that. I just wanted to go play.
Uh-huh.
And ultimately, I had a teacher. I had a teacher, and I was just kind of exposed to like just different sides to start doing this to maybe make money. And I ended up falling in love with it. I ended up getting my first private student my second year of,
Hmm.
of college. And that really, really put me on my toes because I had to be like one step ahead of this kid. Just
Yeah.
getting ready. He wasn't that far behind me. He was 4 years younger than me. He was looking to start applying to colleges and getting ready to do that kind of stuff. So I was always kind of like one step ahead of this kid, and it really pushed me to be a better musician. And in that, I also realized how much I loved seeing my students do well and progress. So
Hmm.
I realized I wanted to pursue a career in teaching. That led me to ultimately the goal of being a community college professor and then ultimately working at like state school. So I want to do that in addition to
Yeah.
playing town and being a freelancer. Not really, not really in love or infatuated with the idea of playing.
Right. So you froze. Can you repeat? Well, you're not unfrozen yet. um, hold on. Okay. So try to pick up from where you were.
Yeah, from our
Yeah.
from our break. Now that we're back,
Yeah.
uh, I'm not super duper enthralled with the idea of playing in an orchestra as like my sole source of income.
Gotcha.
But also part of the reality of being a musician in 2020 is you have to find the work where you can.
Yeah.
And so should I ever, but I'm fortunate to have grown up in Southern California and been exposed to a lot of opportunities here
Mm.
outside of that traditional, which call
Yeah.
me more the tubist. So,
Yeah. And it's hard to not feel like, at least from my perspective, like if you don't want to be, or if you don't want to be in an orchestra, or like do recordings, then you don't really have a lot of options as far as like being a performance person. Um, but so beyond like teaching, or what kind of opportunities are there?
you can find a lot of work playing in different chamber groups. You can find a lot of work nowadays, especially here in Southern California.
Yeah.
You can find a lot of work playing in different pop groups. Tuba players in particular in Southern California are fortunate to be able to take advantage of opportunities in different cultural settings and
Mm.
in say different bandas, playing in tamborazos, just playing different kinds of music that way. You make a
Mm.
lot of money that way in Southern California. That money, yeah, I know I have friends out there who are making upwards of $150 an hour just playing in
Wow.
that. And
Yeah.
so they book three night, they book 2 3 nights. That's a thousand a weekend
Wow.
just playing tuba at a party. Playing tuba at a party and having a great time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities for work outside of those traditions.
Hmm. And
It's gonna be fun.
yep.
We're back.
Yep.
There's a lot of opportunities in Southern California. Part of working here is being a
Okay. So you froze through like all of that. But so let's move on. Maybe that topic is cursed. But the point is, there's a lot of opportunities.
there's a lot of
Uh,
opportunities. You got to be able to find the. If you can't find the work, you got to make the work.
yeah.
Was one of my professors told me in my first few years. So
Hmm. Let's see. So where were we? Would you, let's see. This question series kind of has like one route, so I'm going to ask it and kind of follow. Do you feel like your high school, what you learned in high school prepared you well for being a music major?
I think I was fortunate enough that my band director was thinking ahead like that for
Hmm.
his students, that I was adequately prepared.
Yeah,
But having worked in different schools in different areas around Southern California as a coach or in a different capacity,
yeah,
we don't know if that necessarily holds true for other people coming from different programs.
yeah. I'd say it's pretty rare.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and I think I would very much agree with that.
Yeah, and I think it has more to do with like the reality of everything like else, kind of screwing up with the director's vision and stuff. But like other directors just don't have that as a priority.
Yeah, very much
So
so, very much so. It's hard. It's hard to find a director honestly who has the time and the resources to be
yeah,
able to devote that class.
yeah,
Directors really do want to try and give you as much as they can, but
hmm,
they might be limited by what they have available to them.
yeah. And it's like I can be as a high school director, I can be as like knowledgeable about all this stuff and be able to explain it well. But I still have like weaknesses. Like um, I don't have a lot of experience with percussion stuff,
Yes.
and we get one semester of percussion in college, and that's not enough. And I don't think it'd be enough if I had a year of percussion, honestly.
Yeah. So
It's
much there.
just like
There's so many
there's
different
so
things.
much stuff going on back there,
Mhm.
and there's so many things that you have to get exactly right. And like you kind of it's like talking to a different it's a different kind of musician almost, and being able to include them all the time is really hard. That's like one of my own weaknesses, and that's something that I've seen directors struggle with.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like they have to prioritize, like, do I want to teach these kids like theory and scales, or do I want to like go to festival this year and get a good rating?
Yes.
And sometimes it's really that it's that decision.
Yeah.
uh,
Sometimes that decision will weigh on whether or not they're
yeah,
able to offer
yeah,
theory in the future
yeah,
if they're facing pressure from above from
yeah, that too. I mean, like how many directors are lucky enough to have a theory course that's actually offered?
yeah.
It's a lot. There's and it really, we shouldn't be like expecting band teachers to teach like everything at the same time. Like I wouldn't want to go, like at college at least, I wouldn't want to go to band rehearsal and like do theory stuff. And that was always my frustration when I was in like middle school and high school. Whenever they tried to approach it, it's like,
No,
well,
I'm here to play. If I want to
yeah,
learn theory, I'll take the theory class.
I wanted to play Tula today, but instead I'm spending an hour learning how to read chords, and it doesn't feel applicable. So it's really hard, the way that we have our system set up.
Very
Um, let's see. Okay,
more available.
what do you think? Let's see. What do you think? Like a an aspiring high school age musician, like a senior in high school, let's say. What do you think they need to know uh, to get into college and like to survive their first year
As a music major,
as a music major?
you, I think something that's important is the merit of self-discipline and what's called time management.
Yeah.
Going into college, you're suddenly not going to have the really strict structure that you've had pretty much all the way up until now. So you are suddenly going to have your freedom, and that's going to be great. Definitely take advantage of that and start to structure things as they feel comfortable for you. But also within that, especially in your first few years, you're going to still have pretty high expectations of you as a music major. You're going to have a pretty heavy class load, probably loaded with a lot of theory. You're going to have your ensembles, you'll have your lessons, and all within the middle of all of that, you're probably still going to have to figure out where the heck do I practice for all of this stuff, especially depending on your instrument. You may have to be spending a lot of time on ensemble repertoire in addition to your solo repertoire. Some instruments like a tuba, sometimes you can kind of get away with maybe spending more time on your solo stuff and your lesson stuff, or maybe your chamber group stuff versus your it's called big ensemble stuff.
Yeah.
You're maybe practicing flute or violin or clarinet, and you're playing in one of the better groups. You're going to be having a hard time. What you're going to be have a lot of what's called notes being thrown at you.
Yeah.
So it's what's really important is being able to say, okay, I have an hour here, I need to warm up here, and then I have class from this time to this time. Okay, now I have I now have 20 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna eat lunch here, and then that 20 minutes I'm gonna go write and practice, or I'm gonna go do homework, or I'm gonna go to my next class, and so on. And just being able to find that structure on your own is going to be incredibly valuable and incredibly useful for you. And with that will come the discipline for the practice. With that the ability to kind of gradually improve and work with your suggestions, or work with what your professors are giving you, what your teacher's giving you in your lessons. So that gives you a lot more freedom ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, I know for myself, it took around about a year or two till I really started to get, like, I remember my last 3 years at Cal State Fullerton, I was like, okay, like every single day I had it like planned out, like this is when I'm going to eat. This is when I'm going to go to classes. From here to here, I am in ensemble. From ensemble, I'm going straight to the practice rooms. I'm going to spend an hour practicing. And like it was really like drilled to a routine, like that I did not have spare time anymore.
I remember that. I remember because that was when I was in my first years. I was like, hey Ed, let's go do something. And you're like, nope,
busy.
I'm like, nope. But he's like, he has a schedule. And then I got on like 6 o'clock on the dot every morning. I was out the door. I was in class, somehow 5 minutes late every day. Then I was straight from class to class. I was right into warming up after I was out of my last class, because then I had to go into ensemble. Then right after ensemble, I had about 10 minutes to get in my car. Otherwise, I would be facing a lot of traffic, so I could get to where I needed to go teach. Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. It really it felt it all that structure really makes it fly by, and developing that kind of internal discipline of like, this is when I do everything is nice. But I don't think high school in general prepares you for that, but it's really like it's a different experience. And that was something like in college in general that I noticed, like you really have to have built up a certain amount of self-discipline, or else you're not gonna do anything.
No, you're not gonna go anywhere. You're gonna be in the same class three semesters in a row.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be like taking like 1 or 2, and you're gonna end up like waiting, and you were supposed to be there for 4 years, and now you're there for 7, and your financial aid went out, and now you have to go to college.
And you're still sitting in the music major lounge playing on your games.
Nope.
We had two of my students. We had a friend who was a tuba player, and my last year we got a new tuba teacher, and we were doing like early morning warm-ups every morning, or not every morning, every week.
Yeah, like every Monday.
Yeah. Started at 7 a.m. And I remember like right before one of those, our teacher like sent out an email that was like, hey, if you catch one of these, like we had a guy who was kind of a slacker in the tuba department. If you catch him in the lounge, you send me an email, you contact me, you tell me that he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Uh,
Which in hindsight, this guy is straight up asking us to snitch on this dude. But
he needed it though. Is the thing is that like
he did. He needed a fire lit on his ass
yeah
because one of the realities of music is one of the realities that holds true from music school to a career in music is having that structure and that self-discipline. If you do not have that, you will not be working. You will not.
yeah
You
yeah.
will not be making money. You will not be able to pay your bills. You will not be able to feed yourself. You
That's
will
correct.
not be able to put gas in your car. So
Yeah.
you have to be on top of your stuff. Otherwise, the world of music, a career cutthroat.
Yeah.
To a
It is
degree.
very cutthroat. It's if you're not on your shit, then
You're not eating.
yeah. And to this day, that person does not have a job in music, but that's okay. It's not for everybody.
It isn't. That's another reality.
Yeah.
Another very true reality.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to like acknowledge that like either you like it or you don't, and if you're not willing to engage enough with being in the music like program, then you probably don't like it enough to do it for a living because you really gotta like it.
Yes, you really have to like it. You have to have that, and you have to have that because to feel that self-discipline, you got to have the passion. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to have like that burning desire of like, even though I'm bills, I really like doing this, and this is the only thing I see myself being happy doing. Which
Yeah.
is ultimately how I decided I want to be a music major, and was the question that my band director posed to me, and he
Yeah.
told me when I was applying to school, I'm like, I'm considering doing this. So he's like, okay, I want you to think about anything else you can do for a living. I want you to think, can you be happy doing that? And if the answer school student, that was kind of like, whoa, that's kind of like a lot, because you're used to hearing like you can do anything, like take advantage of, like you can be anything, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
For me, that was like, whoa, that was me. That was someone telling me like, if you're not like really, really in this, like you're not gonna make it.
Yeah. And it's like hard to be out on the teacher side of that. It's hard to be realistic with a student when they ask about that kind of thing. Because I have to be straight with them. Like you have to do the work. And people don't really always understand that. Like I had a discussion with like another teacher, and we were talking about this kid who was like thinking about maybe doing music, and I was like, I don't think that kid's gonna make it if they become a music major. And he was like, what? He's so talented at singing or whatever. And I was like, he doesn't have the attitude. Uh, he's he doesn't want to practice. He's like comfortable with like how good he is now,
Yeah.
which is like good to a person who doesn't know what good is supposed to be, but like he's got like a little bit of talent, and he's gonna write on it.
Yeah.
So you can kind of
That's
see that.
will take you so far. That will
Yeah,
never take you so far.
yeah,
So, and I get it's hard to be that real. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to be that real, but you need to be,
yeah,
especially with this profession, this career.
yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, whatever. Moving on. Let's see. What would you say the value of your degree is?
Hard way to interesting word to put it.
Yeah.
But I think the value of my degree comes with the value of my degree comes from the
Mm-hmm.
experiences that I went through in the time that I was working on it. Not even necessarily for like information that I got from the classes that I learned, but
Yeah.
even just the experience of being in the School of Music and then being exposed to different people in the industry, and then building a career of my own, starting in my the value of my degree comes from that. It comes from all of those experiences pulled
Yeah.
together. So
Good.
my bachelor in music is my time at Cal
Yeah.
State, not the classes that I took.
Right. Yeah, and I'd say I generally agree with that. Is building that experience background,
Yeah.
and the professional connections that really like round you out.
Very, very
Um,
much.
yeah,
Looking at my master's and then possibly a doctorate in the future, these I'm looking for further enrichment and I guess further, let's call it further deepening of my understanding of the instrument and
yeah,
different ways that I can go about. So that's where I see my value in those degrees.
yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about it on the music education side. It's like just meeting people who are like master educators and great composers and have all this experience. I just want to go and like listen to them. Which is like one of the benefits of. I've now gone to Midwest twice, and the first time I went with like other people from Cal State Fullerton, and we all like had a good time, but there were people amongst us who were not really there to like it kind of felt like some folks were taking it as like a vacation.
Yeah.
Um, and this year I went all by myself, and I just had time to like go to whatever things I wanted and check out people. I got to like shake hands with Frank DeKelly,
That's amazing.
and like right there, for me that's like worth it. I
Yeah,
got
that's
to
it.
meet
That's it.
one of my absolute like heroes, and I got to talk with him, and because he was doing like a showing for his new. He has a method book that he wrote.
Okay.
That's a little. It's like a little bit different. Like he composed like everything. It's not just like the usual method books where it's like folk songs over
Yeah.
and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more focused, and I've kind of wanted to like invest in it, but anyway,
Just
like
curious.
so I went there. There weren't like a lot of people there, so like he said hi to literally everyone in the room,
Huh?
and like I went up and talked to him afterwards, and like I also got to meet Robert Reynolds.
H Bob.
Um, so like,
Oh,
oh man,
I'm sad. He was supposed to have his final concert, like at US.
oh
And man, the coronavirus. Stay home, please. Stay home.
yeah.
Please stay
Everybody, stay home, please.
one day, so that the day that we can make music again comes sooner.
Yeah, it's like so crazy. I know so many people that are just like, well, nobody's out right now, so I'm gonna go to these uncrowded beaches and parks, and I'm like, no, stay inside.
No. Yeah.
It's crazy. So like building, just like meeting all these people and like our professors at Cal State Fullerton. It was funny. I watched the most recent Star Wars, and I was looking in because they have the credits for all of the orchestra members. I
Yeah.
recognized like 4 or 5 names of like
Yeah.
Cal State Fullerton professors, people like the arranger that I knew in high school that was like our coach.
Oh yeah.
Like so many people that are like playing in that movie, and I'm like, I know these people. I was like, that guy Tommy Tuba. That guy used to run like tuba ensemble, like
Phil
all
Keane.
sorts of things. Phil Keane.
Yeah, man. Some of the things, Phil straight up is probably one of the most like influential people from like my first few years of Fullerton.
Yeah.
Straight up, those tuba ensemble classes, those stories. Was a teacher who really like who really cemented like, yes, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. It was like weird because he was running the tuba ensemble basically by himself my first 2 or 3 years.
Oh.
And he really focused on like this is like the reality, and like really getting us to play a lot and all that, and it was really like really influential.
Yeah, Phil Phil was always real with you, and he always told you like how it was. He
Yeah.
told you how you were doing, and he's like, "Hey, you need to be doing this, this, and this, man." And a lot of people, some people didn't like that, and some people couldn't take that. And more often than not, those people were the people who would eventually end up dropping out.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, just
Hello.
hello.
Okay, so you're back.
Where
We dropped off. You were talking about Phil Keane being real.
yeah, Phil was real, and a
Yeah.
lot of people couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
More often than not, those are the people who would end up dropping out. And something to think about is like, I think the dropout rate. Last I checked, the dropout rate between among music majors in the first degree with a lot more people than you finish your degree with.
Mm-hmm. How can you just repeat the dropout rate again?
I think it was something like 60% in the first.
Yeah, I
year.
believe it. I was gonna say just now that like I think of the people that I started my first year, probably 2/3 were gone by the time I graduated.
Yeah.
Like, cause I remember like my first musicianship class, there was like a room full of people.
Huge.
Like of those, probably like 30 people. I think 5, maybe a dozen, made it through.
Yeah.
Because that was like Sean and Joseph, me,
Paula.
Paula,
Yeah.
Andrea.
Yeah.
Just so there's like a lot, but like
That's about it.
yeah,
Of people who are working.
yeah. Of the people who are working, that's about it. Probably. I mean, I'm probably missing a couple vocalists.
Yeah.
But even then, like I remember a lot of vocalists like just dropped out straight out. Okay.
Good.
Okay. So we talked about success. We talked about meeting people worth of the degree. Let's talk about some idols. Lighten it up. So who's like a hero of yours on the tuba?
Hero of mine on the tuba, definitely our former teacher, Doug Torquist.
Mm-hmm.
That man is one of the kindest human beings you will ever meet. One of the most skilled musicians you'll ever meet as well. He makes music amazingly. I was just his approach to music was just so much different from what I've been exposed to before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really, really grateful to be able to have that time with him and to kind of learn from that. Other heroes and my first teacher, Eugene, is a hero to me. My current teacher, which we call Professor Aubrey Ford, he's a tuba player for the Baltimore Symphony at he's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He is a hero to me. He is my experience studying with him has been amazing. It's been great. He's really opened up my approach to the instrument. He's slowed me down in a way, and he's really shown me like you don't need to work that hard to play.
Yeah.
You just gotta breathe.
You really just gotta breathe. It's like it's being relaxed. It's taken me, at least in my own practice, like a really long time to learn that. Because it like in ensemble, I'm so gung ho about just like I want to play loud and I want to hold this thing down because that's my job as a tuba player. And I want to play some notes. I want to play them loud. And like being one of the music majors in like a community ensemble that also like gives me like an extra like, oh, I gotta be good. So
I didn't go through this.
Yes.
I didn't get my own recital.
Right. So I ended up working really, really hard. But like right now I'm practicing and I'm like, oh, like I just need to relax. Like a lot of this like just tension it's not helpful.
Yeah, it's you really just gotta kind of just roll that shoulder back. You gotta fit. My teacher, he calls it kind of like the Shrek face. You just gotta be like kind of like this ogre. You gotta be relaxed. You just gotta take a deep breath. Just let the air out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you just approach the instrument. Are you still playing on that Wessex that Berg?
Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. I bought a new octave. I bought Roger Bobo's old BNS Symphony.
Look at that.
Yeah, I love this thing.
How much did that run you?
I got this. This was a steal, like straight up a steal. Got it for $6,000. Straight up a steal. This easily 9, and then add on the fact that it was Bobo's at one point.
Yeah.
But I got this at a steal. The guy, but best main tubas in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So these are. I was very lucky to be able to find this one.
Yeah.
So I had just bought another instrument, actually. I just bought an E-flat tuba as for my bass tuba. And I was playing on that. I had it for maybe like 4 months, and I saw this show up on TubeNet. I'm like, well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I sold the other instrument.
Yeah.
And I sold, worked, and saved, and bought the other one. So
Nice.
Yeah.
It's just like so hard. Like tubas are so expensive, and it's like, well, do I want to pay for grad school, or do I want to live in my apartment, or do I want a new tuba? So I end up losing it. Yeah, I was just saying it's like so hard.
The equipment is expensive.
Being any kind of player, but like being a tuba player, like the base cost of our instruments is like the cost of like a decent clarinet. You know what I mean? Like it's so much.
Other instruments that like have a base cost significantly higher than ours. If you want to be a bassoon player, you're not. Do you want a car or do you want the bassoon?
Right.
Or do you want like an intermediate bassoon? So
it's crazy. And tenor saxes, like I don't know how sax players do it. They like a shitty saxophone is like $1,500.
Yes. I have a friend and she had to take out a loan for her bassoon. Her bassoon was something like $26,000. So
that's crazy. That is a car. That's an expensive car. Well, not super expensive, but like.
But yeah, some flute players, their instruments are ungodly expensive because they're made out of something like 24 karat gold or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, but like I don't know. I don't know how much like flute players actually need 24 karat gold flutes. Let's be honest here.
I mean, some can be argued like, why are we
sure.
paying $45,000 for a Yama York?
Yes. Yep.
So
I remember when Chris Olka was selling his tuba and he like put it on like Facebook or something, and people were like, "What the?" Like,
he's had this thing for how many years, and he's charging $39. Or was it? Yeah, he was charging $39.
Yeah, I think so. It was in the 30Ks. I don't remember how much exactly. It's a lot.
A lot of money for an instrument. My heart.
Yeah.
That hurts. I'm happy that the instruments the instruments that I own today, I probably worth about $16,000 combined.
Mm-hmm.
But I've spent probably more than that on instruments. I have spent more than that on instruments. So it's just hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make money and then suddenly all of it's gone because you gotta buy a better piece of equipment so you can make money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love my instruments, so I'm grateful to have them.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky, very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I love my little Wessex.
I bought that thing. That thing's cool.
It's great. It's like it's got a huge bore, and it's really flexible. Like I play it in big bands. Like I pretend to be a contrabass, and it works for me. The only thing that's like hard is getting around like whenever a piece like does like a B flat and A or a G like down there in the bottom, like
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, where I have to be like screwing around with all my valve combinations. Because so like for me, it's a short fifth, so it's
5, 1, 3, 4, or do you go 5?
I go 5/4 for the B flat.
Okay.
And then
that makes sense.
5 2 for the A, and
Oh,
then for the A flat,
is 2-3-4 and is 2-3-4 too sharp?
2-3-4. I can't remember. 2-3-4.
So I
I
do
might
that.
try it. I keep having to like screw around with the
Yeah, it also depends on what
fingerings
slide
for
you can reach while you're playing as well.
yeah.
You
And
can
I don't have a lot I can yank, so my fourth is really the one that I can
yank.
get. Yeah, because my first valve is pretty short.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so something I noticed about actually was the first valve, first valves or first slides are just like so damn short.
Yeah,
I was lucky on the Yamaha. The Yamaha actually had a lot of like space in the first slide, but this one, like I pull, I'm like, oh, I'm a little sharp. Pull,
yeah,
pop. I'm like, oh, well, fuck.
yeah. Well, luckily I don't have to do too much tuning on the fly. Just I've developed my own kind of flexibility here. Um, but like down in the in the basement there, with like low A flat, those ones I have to like do some funky fingerings.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What would you say? What class would you say you struggled most with during your undergrad?
Uh, the class that I probably had the hardest time grasping the material. Um, hmm. Probably either my 20th century techniques class.
Mm,
Yeah, probably my. I'm actually gonna change my answer. The class
okay.
that I struggled with the most were my music. I really, really struggled with my musicianship classes, and those
Mm,
classes were kind of the oral skills classes.
yeah.
Those were the classes that trained your ear. So before I got to college, I had very minimal. In one of the most important things to develop as a musician.
Yeah.
In general, your ear needs to be really developed. You need to be able to hear, am I out of tune? And truthfully speaking, when I got to college, I could not tell.
Yeah.
I could not tell, and I'm sure a lot of people could figure that out around me. So I ended up having to spend kind of like during my second and third year, kind of a prolonged period of time just sitting in a room
Mm,
with like an organ going or an organ sound just drone going and just playing long tones to those pitches and finding all right where all the beats gone, just pulling slides and
mm,
starting to kind of like memorize where to do things. And even then I really wasn't able to didn't develop my ear. I developed my muscles to be able to play and tune on the horn.
yeah.
But it wasn't until I'd say probably within the past maybe a year and a half to 2 years that I've really started to develop my ear, which I honestly regret that I didn't start earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard. Because I had the same kind of challenges, and I really struggled with musicianship classes, and it was really like they drop you in and they're just like, okay, we're gonna do melodic dictation now, and you go what, and and then they go, okay, so just I'm gonna play something on the piano, you just write it down, don't worry about it, and you're just like, what? Stop, like it's
Again, like
and
what?
that's like where it starts. It
Yep.
and
And then
it's so hard.
this and start.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, okay, just like look at this and just sing it in solfege.
You're
Like,
like,
uh,
come again?
that's like, and I just like my hardest part were those like I guess was the melodic dictations. I was, and I think this is true with like every instrumentalist ever. It was generally instrumentalists struggle on the melodic dictations, and we do really well on the rhythmic stuff.
Yes.
Um, because it's just like at least our we think in pulse a lot more, and we worry about
Oh,
pitch I think a little bit less,
yeah.
like
We
in
put, we put
bands.
or like this is note is supposed to come out in this combination,
Yeah,
which actually is one of the reasons why teaching brass can be kind of difficult because you press a combination,
yeah,
you might get a couple of things.
yeah, it's really hard, especially like when you're working with beginners. Like you can tell them like, okay, you know, you're just going to buzz open into the instrument and it should be like a C. And it could be a C, it could be a G for them. Usually it's one of those two, but like sometimes they'll get some sort of like pedal or something, and you have to be able to like be like, oh no, that's not quite right, and
speed up your air, or you gotta
yeah,
how you're aiming the mouthpiece.
and it's all like, how do I explain to this kid like how to fix that? Because like even as a brass player, I'm just like, it just bring the note up, but like I never when
part of that is the ear.
Yeah, when I learned to play the tuba, like literally, my section leader just like put a sousaphone on me and was like, "Okay, now play a B flat," and I kept playing an F, and he kept going, "No, lower," and I kept going, "F."
How do
How do I play lower?
I go lower?
Like, no, just lower. And
That's
so like eventually I just got it. So it wasn't like for me, it wasn't that anyone told me any sort of like magic secret to playing it. It was just like I would just play it a lot until you like can change things. Yeah. So it's like just you just have to like learn the if you know the instrument. But like as a teacher, I'm like, no, that's stupid. You can't tell kids like learn your instrument.
You can't say swim.
Yeah. So like finding that magic sauce of like, well, you have to speed up your air and you have to like concentrate the buzzing towards the center of your lips and like all this stuff. And like I still get trumpet players that are like, and it's like, come on,
no,
that ain't it.
It starts in the stomach.
Yeah.
Follow through.
Yeah. And like even trying to drive home the point that like breathing is important. I mean, for the beginning band kids, it's like you just talk past them. Let's see. Yeah, so we talked about class struggles. I definitely agree. Musicianship is a hard class. I'm trying to like think back on my own experience, and I'd say probably musicianship and music theory, like both classes that I felt like I was constantly drowning, and it wasn't ever like I never felt, and I always was like very envious of the people that like did really well in those classes because I was like, what are you doing that I'm not? Like I don't understand that you like. I remember Unal would just like call on people and be like, "What's this note?" And then they'd be like, "It's a C," and I'd be like, "How?"
Again? What kind of black magic are you doing?
Yeah, like I don't understand where like I'm screwing up here. But like some people just have.
It's important to realize too, like you weren't necessarily screwing up.
Right.
You didn't have the training.
Right.
And also out there for the musicianship, people who are able to pick the pitch. There's some people out there who are literally just gifted with.
Yeah.
So there you can't really do much. But that also, as much as it's a gift, it can also be a curse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people with perfect pitch who they just don't. I don't know if it's their sense of pitch is like too strict or what, but they tend to have like a tone, like just in general. And I'm like, obviously, like I'm not disparaging anyone that I know with perfect pitch right now, but like there tends to be like kind of a less good tone. Like their tone tends to be a little bit less warm, and they're not always like the best. Like
I think
they can get the right pitches, but like tone, like I guess all I'm talking about is tone. Really, is it tends to be not as good developed, I should say. And you cut. Okay. So to clarify my point, I would just say that I think people with perfect pitch tend to have a less warm tone, and they tend to blend not as well, at least from my perspective that I've seen, experience. And Andrew is frozen again.
I think maybe perhaps what you might be noting as perhaps like I think.
And you're frozen. There we
go. I saw you the entire time.
Okay.
I think perhaps maybe as strict adherence to a perfect center pitch, maybe perhaps akin to playing out of tune relative to an ensemble.
Yeah.
I think perhaps maybe more of what you're referencing is a difficulty because of hearing a specific pitch center.
Yeah.
Difficulty adjusting to playing relatively in an ensemble setting, which is something that's very important because when you're in an ensemble, pitch is very much relative to what you tune to, or what maybe even honestly your fixed pitches, your mallet keyboards.
Yeah, and even like ensembles in different regions and of all sorts play with different tuning systems. So it could be anything, but that's just something I've always like noticed about people with perfect pitch in general. And you're okay. Let's finish things up. Sorry to anyone that's watching for the technical difficulties. I have no idea what this is going to look like once we put it up because I keep pressing pause. I keep pressing pause every time he freezes, but I don't know what is going to end up being. So I'm going to press pause again because he's frozen again. Okay, so let's finish things up. Just as a last question, I'm trying to I'm trying to ask like questions that are important to my students or important to me, and this is kind of a for me question. And the question is, what is your favorite warm up right now?
Probably my favorite warm up right now. Is Beautiful Sound from the
Beautiful Sound.
Palafian School of Music, Power School.
Yeah.
If for those of you who aren't familiar with it, here, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my audio settings real fast. I'll go ahead and play it for you.
Okay.
It kind of focuses on like smooth air movement from the top to, or kind of like a connection to the registers. It focuses on moving your air steadily while at the same time working you through different registers. The way that I do the exercise, I start on kind of second partial, or like the home pitch of the instrument. So on a B flat tuba, that'd be your low B flat. This is an F tuba right here. So this is my F, or this is my second partial F. And what I do is I wedge out in half steps. I start there, and then I'll go up a half step to G flat. And then I'll go, let's call it from G flat to E, and then to G natural, and then to E flat, and then so on. Eventually, my little checkpoint is the middle, the tritone, the B natural.
Mm-hmm.
So I play the B natural in the staff, and I play the B natural below the staff. I play in those octaves, and then eventually I make sure I always go up first so that I finish playing the lowest octave. I finish playing my pedal F, my pedal F, and after having played the upper octave F, working above the staff.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, that's a good one. I always remember people doing that exercise when I was at Castle Fullerton. I'd hear it a lot.
Yeah, I have a very specific warm up that I put together, that I formed. I kind of like patch together a lot of different exercises I've been exposed to from or by different teachers, and then I kind of just came up with my own little warm up. A lot of people started doing it.
Yeah, and I think I mean, I know there are people that disagree, but I think warm-ups are like really important as far as like just keeping working on like maintenance, and also working on things that are just like really fundamental things that you get ignored if you're only working on music. Like lip flexibility and long tones, intonation, and those kind of things that we don't like. If you're just playing music, you're not thinking about necessarily. And okay.
I think you are thinking about those things, and when you're making music, it's important that you do, but perhaps we're not thinking about it in the most active sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you're not actively working on them. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you for joining us, Andrew. You've been absolutely fabulous, despite our technical difficulties.
Please forgive that. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to have joined you today. I love sharing whatever I can. And I hope that my experiences can
Hmm.
kind of like shed some light on what it's like to be a music major,
Yeah,
especially at our age nowadays.
yeah. I think this is. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I think this is like an important thing to be doing